May has become a record-setting month in the cryptocurrency market. Just look at Bitcoin's price surge. It broke its January high and surpassed $112,000. But in the mid-2025, investors are pouring money not into BTC but into Anonymity. Yeah, you heard that right. And just think about it. In less than 2 months, the privacy coin Monero has surged by more than 150%. And it's not alone in its surgement. Why has anonymity, once a cyberpunk fantasy, turned back into an investment narrative? And how long will the bullish momentum in this sector last? I'm Anna, and this is the Eye of Crypto channel. Let's dive in. What drives the crypto market besides fundamental news and events or crowd psychology? The short answer is narratives, especially in 2025. I talked about this in detail in one of my previous videos, so if you missed it, make sure to check it out. Well, in short, narratives in crypto are sets of stories and beliefs that shape how people perceive blockchain technology and digital assets. It's a pretty useful way to study the bigger picture. With their help, we understand what's currently in demand and why. We can also try to predict where the industry might head next. Simply put, understanding narratives means staying in the loop and, of course, trying to profit from it. Yes, you might be skeptical of narratives, but they're what people believe in and what actually works and brings profits. We've already seen meme coins and AI token narratives, and for months now, many investors have been asking the same question. What's next, and which new market narrative will spark the next rally? And hardly anyone expected that the answer would be ideas from 4 or 8 years ago. Once, back in the prehistoric days of crypto, let's say 2016, 2018, everyone was talking about privacy and altcoins that offered real confidentiality. That's when projects like Monero, Zcash, Dash, and others emerged. Then came the waves of ICOs, DeFi, NFTs, and the metaverse, meme coins, AI, and privacy was all but forgotten. But just take a look at Monero's all-time chart. This coin surged in 2017, again in 2021, and now in May 2025, its price skyrocketed once more. And it's not just XMR going up. So how did it happen that seemingly forgotten ideas have come back into fashion this year? Let's break it down. If you're new to crypto, you might not know how privacy altcoins differ from other cryptocurrencies or what the anonymity narrative even refers to. The thing is, Bitcoin and early crypto were inspired by cyberpunks, people who cared about things like confidentiality and privacy. But it quickly became clear that Bitcoin's level of anonymity wasn't enough. In Bitcoin, everything is on display: addresses, amounts, all visible due to its blockchain design. That's why various altcoins began developing their own blockchains with different levels of privacy. Monero, for example, uses ring signature technology, while Zcash uses the zk-SNARK protocol. Even though different coins use different methods, they're all significantly more private than Bitcoin, and many allow you to hide the sender, receiver, and amount entirely. Do they do their job effectively? Well, absolutely. Of course, there is a dark side. Monero is popular in the shadow economy. That said, I think many would agree anonymity isn't always about crime. As Edward Snowden once said, saying you don't care about privacy because you have nothing to hide is like saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. Give a like if you also believe that people should have the right to anonymity and privacy. Governments, on the other hand, are working to restrict this segment. For instance, under the MiCA regulation developments in the Eurozone, privacy coins have been getting delisted from exchanges for several years now. In case you don't know, a delisting is when a coin is removed from a certain exchange, and if it was a major platform, it becomes much harder to buy or sell that coin. Because of the delisting wave in recent years, many investors stopped seriously considering privacy coins as profitable assets. But in May 2025, that changed. Monero, for example, was priced around $270 on May 1st and hit a monthly high of $418 by May 25th, before a slight correction. If we take April's low into account, the growth exceeds 150%. So why is the coin rising despite liquidity issues and delistings? Crypto detective Zach XBT was among the first to try and explain Monero's anomalous growth. On April 28th, he reported that someone converted 3,520 BTC, worth around $330 million, into XMR. Did that affect Monero's price surge? I think so, but that's not the whole story. The price did jump that day, but the bullish momentum continued throughout May, with a peak at the end of the month. As I said earlier, other similar coins also went up, like Zcash, for example, from April lows of around $30 to a May peak of $57. That's a 90% increase. Now it's a good time to remind you that neither this video nor any other content on my channel is financial advice, and it's all for informational purposes only. So, what's the fundamental reason I see behind this growth? Initial negative investor sentiment due to delistings has eased in 2025. The market adapted, and now those who know how and where to trade these assets specifically continue to use privacy coins as usual. As always, technologies fade into the shadows but don't disappear. On the other hand, governments are cracking down harder with regulations. Various KYC procedures and AML checks are making crypto more transparent to Big Brother. And if you comply with all of this, then every transaction is traceable. Any transfer could be blocked. But at the same time, this also signals to the market that governments fear anonymity. By the way, leave a comment. Are these de-anonymization measures justified? And what do you think is more important, fighting crime or protecting privacy? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So maybe history is repeating itself. Pressure from one side and renewed demand for tools to escape that pressure from the other. In the end, the industry is maturing. The hype around meme coins is giving way to serious things and serious questions from the world of cryptography. So if total digital control scares you, you're not alone. Maybe that's why the market is turning to privacy tech once again. History repeats, but on a new level. Will this be a sustainable trend or just a spike driven by fear and distrust? Well, only time will tell. And I think that's all for today's video, so I'll see you in the next one.